Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm continuing my my series of top 5 snap-on tools about something. In this case, this video, it's going to be the top 5 snap-on tools that don't hold their value. And this obviously could be controversial. Some tools are specialty purpose. You can't get rid of them unless you really find that person who needs them. Otherwise, no one will pay anything for them. And I've seen things like that. You know, some puller sets that retail for $200-300, and a person can't get 50 for it. It's too narrow. I'm going to limit this to common hand tools, not pneumatic, not nothing electric. And these are based on both buying and selling tools, and of course, watching the secondary market or secondhand market across both online and brick and mortar institutions. And this isn't the garage sale fine stuff. This is the you know, out of the cabinet from people who know what they're doing. So what do I have for the top 5 snap-on tools that don't hold their value? I'm going to start out with number 1 as the slip joint pliers. And the older, the worse. And I have seen slip joint pliers selling for probably not much more than a new pair of Craftsman. I think it's just too common a tool that the snap-on essence, you know, or the snap-on advantage just is not, it just doesn't transfer as much to this as a used plier. People might still want it, but if you're paying, you know, $50, $70, $100 for a pair of pliers, you know, you're probably going to be lucky to get maybe $30 for them, which still seems like a lot, but as they get older, I mean, I can probably find these things for $20, $25 all day long. So, number 5 slot, snap-on pliers. In the number 4 slot, I am going to put picks. Just the usual picks, and they can be even the newer picks, or the older picks. It really doesn't matter. In fact, sometimes I have discovered things like this way old pick just kind of tossed into the, you know, the 5 for $1 type bins. It also might be that it's hard to read snap-on on it, but it just, you know, people are after screwdrivers and wrenches and things like that. And I've bought entire sets of picks for $10 or $15. That's for all of them with new handles. It just doesn't seem to be something that a lot of people want. Obviously, if these were in the used pile on a tool truck, which if you didn't know that, there's often a used section, usually in a tub or something underneath one of the tool chests. But the picks I've found on the secondary market just don't tend to hold much value. All right. Oh, and by the way, I'm not doing tool storage either. That's a whole nother line of reasoning to try to figure out used snap-on toolboxes. Anyway, so in the number 2 spot, in the number 3 spot, lost my train of thought there, I am going to put snap-on SAE wrenches. And the SAE wrench, or the fractional, you know, the inch wrenches, just don't seem to have anywhere near the value these days as a metric set. So even though if you bought two sets, let's say a full metric and a full SAE, the metric is going to definitely outsell the SAE. And maybe, let's say if it was a $400 wrench set, you might get $300 to $350 if it's in good shape for the metrics. It's going to be hard to even pull over $200 for the SAE. And a lot of times that's in a set. If it's an individual wrench, it's because somebody wants one particular wrench for something. I have a ton of these 3/4. I've just amassed them over the years. I use them for a lot of different things, but it's just... this is a $10 wrench, which is really kind of sad. You know, they might ask more, but it's just nobody wants them. At least that's what I found. There are certain mechanics, and you know, it's a score if that's what you work on. Old cars, old American cars, great, you're doing well. But if you were trying to use them essentially as a commodity or try to get much of your money back out of them, it's going to be pretty rough. All right, in the number 2 slot, I'm going to say non-instinct handle screwdrivers. In this case, they can be the old ones, but even some of the newer ones, if they don't have the nice instinct handle, I can buy these things all day long, and the smaller they are, the more common. I can get these often for, believe it or not, like $1 a piece for Snap-on. The old school ones, a little nicer, it might be a couple of bucks, literally. So the smaller screwdrivers or the non-instinct handles. Just if you got into micro screwdrivers and stuff like that, I don't know if there is a market for them. It's really kind of strange, but anything that is not the instinct handle or on the smaller side just doesn't seem to have much of a market. And then even the large ones, these are like $5 all day long. I can go get them swapped out. They're still high quality Snap-on, but that's about it. If people are asking more, they'll probably take a lot less. In fact, it was probably thrown in with some other tool dealer, and they're hoping to score a little bit on the Snap-on premium. Anyway, and in the number 1 slot for Snap-on tools that don't hold their value, this is going to be controversial probably, I am going to say SAE or fractional shallow 3/8 sockets. So if you have a 3/8 drive socket that's shallow, it may be impossible to get rid of it. And that's because they're not used all that much anymore. The deep and the semi-deep, that's a little more appealing. People might want to enhance their current collection. Most people have these. And the 3/8 size, a lot of people have moved to a quarter or to a ½ inch for particular jobs. This, if you bought a full set, and they're not that expensive anyway, it's just kind of hard to get rid of them. Everyone would ask, is that metric? No. Oh, never mind. And people mix and match them. You can see that there's a difference between 6 and 12s here. There are a few different vintages. That's pretty common, and the only reason people do that is to try to have a full set, because then it's easier to ask more money. But if you just had one socket and it wasn't a, let's say, just grabbed a socket out of here, what's that worth? If you went into a pawn shop or walked into a pawn shop asking for one, they're going to raise the price because they know you need a specific one. But I wouldn't be surprised to find one of these for like $1, maybe $2 in their pile of sockets. They just don't hold their value. Metrics are a different story, but these shallow SAE sockets, to me, in my experience, are the number 1 Snap-on tool that loses its value. I'm sure you have different opinions. Please share them in the comments. But over the years, that's what I've discovered. And with that, Doc out.